Hey everyone, welcome back to EyeOpener Society. Once again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in and joining us here on this fantastic podcast. I just wanted to really quick again mention that we are focusing a little bit more on video, not a whole lot more, but I want to let everybody know again, you can find all the audio on all podcast platforms. Just search EyeOpener Society. We're on eyeopenersociety.podbean.com. We are now also on YouTube, and we also just started a BitChute channel too as well. Do what you want with that. I'm not too familiar with it that much right now, but it's just another platform that I would like to get the show out on. So if you want to look at some of the videos or watch us there, you could do it as well. Once again, I have my sidekick here, my cosmic fairy, Lizzie, who brings so much more excitement to the show. How you doing, Lizzie?
Good. Excited to be here again. A little bit more logical this time, maybe.
Oh, don't worry about it. We don't really need to be logical around here. And I guess that's, you know, I if we go back to the last episode we did, it's like I'm sitting here. I got a unique perspective is where I'm actually watching Lizzie. And I'm watching her sit there and try and get her thoughts together. And it's a lot like me sometimes because again, this show is unscripted, which I really sometimes like and sometimes I don't. Because even me, sometimes I got to sit there and I got to draw in my thoughts and try to get them out to you. But she's not really struggling, but it's just the way I'm watching her. I'm seeing her like take a nosedive, but she recovers fully, and that's what I really like. So don't worry about being logical. I think this episode will try and get away from that.
Well, the thing is you pick your reality, right? That's what I was talking about. My reality is that I feel like a crazy person right now, so that's exactly what I'm going to sound like. So this one, I'm going to be logically crazy, and that's going to be better. So,
All right, well, we'll roll with that. So here's what I was going to do, and this is what I've been doing, on some past episodes. I find little quotes that are kind of inspirational, and then we develop from there, right? So here's one I found, and I found right at the last moment here. All right, be creative in your thoughts, in your feelings, and in all of your actions. Apply your own uniqueness to everything you undertake. Now, I like that one because everything you do is yours. And I could give a task to 100 different people. There'll be 100 different outcomes on that based upon each person's uniqueness. And there's nothing that spells uniqueness more than you, Lizzie. Really. And I mean that on a very loving kind of level. All right. You're completely different from anybody I've met, honestly. And and that's why I'm saying I think any thought you have, anything that you apply yourself to, that it's gonna be Lizzie's. What do you think?
well, I think that's exactly right. That's the whole point of life is that you're expressing your own self. There are no right or wrong way to live it. You're going to have emotions and everything, and it's going to be unique to you. And the less you try to conform to a specific way, the more you can just like explore and be yourself, the more you're actually going to have fun in life. Like last time, I guess not last episode, but the first episode, I was in sweats and a tank top and a messy bun. Today, I've got like a fun skirt and like a little copper tiara because that's just how I was feeling today. You know what I mean? Neither are more or less me. It's just kind of how I was feeling that day.
Which is the whole point of the video thing that I mentioned. So if you do want to see the differences in Lizzie from different episodes, tune in on the videos, YouTube and or BitChute under Eye Opener Society. Here's the thing that I wanted to bring up then based on this little quote. I don't know if it really applies, but it just came to me. In crowds or in a party, let's say, a party type of environment, what kind of person are you?
Oh, I'm usually the one sitting somewhere talking to people. Like I just always seem to find one or two people and we just get to know each other really, really well by the end of the party.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. I think that applies. So it's not just so much to things you do, but just the way you are in certain situations. So you could have the party, theme. You could have the restaurant theme when you're out to eat. You're going to put your uniqueness into each and every situation that you are in. Like I can feel a crowd. So if it doesn't vibe with me, I'm out of there. I'll clam up and I'll, find a door or whatever. But if I'm vibing with the crowd, I'm going to become myself. I mean, I'm going to explode with energy. I'm going to explode with, personality because I'm feeling the room. So yeah, there's difference. And then there's times, like you said, I much rather sit and find a corner where you could just kind of find that one person you're vibing with, and even if you're vibing with the entire crowd around you, you may just tune in on that one person. So yeah, it's unique. Again, that uniqueness for each individual person applies to every little thing in life, no matter what it is. You could put your signature on everything. So that's another thought. Your signature is on everything, right? The car you drive, the furniture you buy, personal clothing. Again, like you're feeling today, you got the tiara, you're different, you dress differently from the first episode because you're putting your uniqueness on it. You're putting your spin on it. And that's the uniqueness of human beings.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually tie this a lot to the navel chakra. I don't know if I go off of the 12 chakra system, and the navel one is all about creative and passion and where you're kind of putting your unique spin on everything. And so the more open and fluid your navel chakra is, the more you're going to express things. And a lot of people can take it from like art, like singing, painting, things like that. But when it's really fluid and pairing with all the other chakras really well, you actually get everything comes out kind of with your energetic signature. Even something so simple as making dinner is going to have a different energetic imprint depending on how fluid that chakra is flowing.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. And you mentioned some too, like especially when it comes down to art and all. I always found poetry, no matter whom you give the pen and paper to, your entire life is going to come out in poetry, whether you know it or not. Whether you have any background in poetry or not, you take that pen and paper and you actually start to think. I think people's lives really open up on paper.
Sorry, your video actually cut out. I didn't get to hear anything that you just
Oh,
said right.
my bad. Okay. I was mentioning that when you mentioned art and all that, poetry is probably one of the most important things. I think when people write stuff down poetry wise, you're free. Are you able to hear me?
No, I cannot. I heard,
Yeah, so again, we're apologize for that. Lizzie's putting off way too much energy. She's blowing up the energy field here. And I always said if we were in the same room, we'd probably open up wormholes. So it's good. So Lizzie, I mentioned about the poetry thing. What are your thoughts on that?
my understanding is poetry can be so powerful because from a 60 perspective, your 60 self is essentially writing poetry into your reality. It's how it makes beauty out of the mundane. And so when you do something like paint a picture or write poetry, you're bringing that beauty into the physical world, and it can help beautify your reality in many, many multidimensional layers.
Yeah, and that and artwork. I'm sitting here, my wife's actually next to me, and she's actually doing her artwork right now as we're doing the podcast. And you're right. That's just a beautiful way of taking it, saying you're taking that beauty from that one dimension and bringing it down to this one. So yeah, it's extremely creative in that output. Again, your uniqueness is coming from up here, your mind, which is basically the universe, whatever's going on in your head, to be able to put it out in words, in art, in music, whatever it may be, lends to your uniqueness. And that's what's great. And Lizzie, you have a uniqueness, your energy, the way it just blew up our whole internet here, and we just experienced it firsthand. Tell the audience what you were just telling me off camera about that.
Oh, yeah. So if you are excited enough and your field is big enough, you can end up glitching technology. I experience this a lot currently in my TikTok videos where when I'm really excited about a topic and I'm recording it and I'm like, yes, it is flowing. This is exactly how I want to say it. Those are the ones that TikTok randomly deletes or posts twice, but once without the like the words I wrote across it. And if I delete one of them, it deletes both of them for some reason. Like weird little things like that. Or I've shut down the registry quite a few times, like at Walmart or something, just because I'm like anxious or whatever. And so I've learned that when technology is like glitching, my phone won't like turn to the next thing. I like take deep breaths and like everything just kind of resets. Like right now, the energy, like the internet's flowing again. We didn't do anything. I had full bars when it was glitching. There was no reason, but for on my end, I was experiencing it from when we first hit record today. And so, but I think I'm chill now. I'm chill. It's fine.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Yeah, it's funny. People don't understand this, but yeah, we have so much. And I spoke about this. We're all frequencies. We're all part of, a higher wavelength. And yeah, we can, as human beings, push that out. And sometimes we push it out farther than what we realize. And it can cause disruptions because, yeah, it's energy, it's actual radio waves that we transmit out. And whether they're good vibrations, bad vibrations, anxiety vibrations, they'll affect things in different ways. And it's just incredible. Again, as I experienced it just watching, like you said, we both have a perfect, stable internet connection, and yet you were able to blow it up. And I like that. I really like that. So, yeah, our uniqueness again flows not only in just our outwardly appearances, but also our outward energy vibrations, and which is so incredible because that's why you are energy dot by dot Lizzie, because you're all about energy.
Yeah, well, also part of that name came from because I couldn't decide any name that I came up with, just felt like it was limiting it, and I could, it just didn't make any sense to try and niche myself down. Everybody's really into niching yourself down or even about not affecting the internet anymore. When I used to try to combat this, I would try to shrink my energy because that's what it is your energy is too big, right? But what it is your energy is vibrating too fast. And so you don't be smaller, you just flow it better. Stop trying to contain it. You're not trying to hold a specific thing, you just let it flow so it can just naturally flow with everything. So for me, it was my anxiety on trying to say things the right way, which was actively making it impossible for me to say it the right way. And then I was glitching the internet. So now I'll just be chill.
That's cool. Listen, I appreciate this so much. I really do. It really this is a whole learning process. Again, especially for the podcast, you, me working together, and we have so many ideas, and we're flowing that energy into this show. We're talking about these things, we're bringing them to light. Maybe people are sitting there thinking, say, wow, I've experienced that. I walk down the streets and street lights are blowing up. I'm not the only one that's doing that. So I'm glad we brought it up. I'm glad it actually happened and we're actually able to experience it for real. So I want to thank the audience again. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for bringing that energy with us. And thank you for experiencing the internet blackout for the first time on the show. It worked. But again, don't forget eyeopenersociety.podbean.com. And we can be found on YouTube. And we're also now on BitChute too as well. So go to BitChute and find us at EyeOpener Society. All one word. I thank you again. And Lizzie, I thank you too as well.
Thank you very much for having me back.